Oh yeah, good job.
There you go. Got him. Wow, that's a trophy. There you go.
Nice job, you two. Lips tight. There we go. Whoa.
The ultimate fishing experience is brought to you by Lund Boats. This week on the ultimate fishing experience, we're off to the famed Rainy River border waters of Ontario and Minnesota. Each spring, thousands of anglers flock here as winter slowly releases its icy grip on this main tributary to massive Lake of the Woods. Most winter-weary fishermen have ventured here to intercept the huge migration of walleyes on their annual spring spawning run. But that's not why we're here. Bigger quarry are on our agenda. Prehistoric leviathans, the lake sturgeon, are also on the move. Some of the largest freshwater fish that swim in North American waters. That's what brings Lindner media staffers Jeremy Smith and Ryan DeChaine here every spring. So it's time to put away that auger, dust off those rods, and prepare yourself for big time, line stretching, pole bending fun.
Do I need to say anything?
Look at that.
Look at the size of this fish, man.
Wow. All right, here's the sticks. I think that's gonna do it until we get to the ramp.
April 9th, first trip of the year. Nice 16-foot boat. Go out, chase some sturge today.
Yeah, it's usually the rite of spring to get out on the river. It's the first opportunity we've got for really, really big fish here in freshwater in the central part of the country. So instead of going south in the spring, we end up heading north to where there's open water on the Rainy River, and we're in search of giant lake sturgeon. Hopefully we'll get one of those fish that we don't know how big it is, they're just like that.
In the state of Minnesota, the Rainy River is the best place to chase lake sturgeon. Clean water legislation in the 1970s has really helped this population rebound from years and years of overharvest in the early 1900s. And also just habitat initiatives that have made spawning areas better, less siltation. Female doesn't reach sexual maturity until she's 25 years old, and then she only spawns every 4 to 6 years. So you really got to let these fish go. That's why there's such a stringent management on harvest of these fish. So the population's incredible. The fish size is still on the upward climb, and we know that they can reach 400 pounds. So we're starting to see fish around that 100-pound range, and they're growing. They're still growing.
I might not have these numbers right, but it was 1994 or 1997. The Ontario Ministry and Minnesota DNR did a population estimate of lake sturgeon, I believe 40 inches or greater in length. And at that time, there was estimated to be about 16,000 lake sturgeon in the Rainy Lake of the Woods system. They repeated that survey again in 2004, and it was estimated that there were 60,000 fish of that size or greater in the Woods Rainy system. So in that short period of time, it went from 16,000 to 60,000, and now it's 2014, and there's another population estimate scheduled for this year. So it'll be really interesting to see if that number maybe doubles again or more than doubles, because back then, if you caught 1 or 2 sturgeon a day, that was a big deal. If you saw 50-inch fish, it was absolutely huge. And now there are times when there's big numbers of fish in from the lake where it's not a joke. You could potentially, a couple guys in a boat spending a hard day out here could, with the right gear, possibly catch 100 sturgeon in a day. I'm not saying that happens every year, but the possibility is certainly there for numbers of fish like that. And seeing 50-inch fish these days, they're not a big deal. It's not an uncommon fish whatsoever. In fact, 60-inch fish 10 years ago were like, yeah, right, you never heard of a 60-inch fish, and now those fish are, again, relatively common. So not only have the numbers exploded, but the size of the fish has grown tremendously. Well, we came prepared to slide across the ice. You never know in these conditions, so I always fish this river with a little boat. So one of the things, you know, when we're fishing a little boat, we still like to have good electronics. That's the whole ticket to finding these fish. And I've got this one rigged where I can pull it out, and then the transducer, if you're sliding across the ice, you can't have it fixed because you'll likely break it off. So I've just got a cheap piece of lumber that I clamp onto the back, and then I'll just hook this beauty up, and we'll be set with the latest, greatest modern electronics to be able to go out and find and catch fish. So that's perfect. Got a battery underneath here, get the transducer on the back, and that's all we need. We're in good shape. Electronics, of course, are a big part of the game in finding any fish, and especially sturgeon. So starting on a large scale, we'll use our GPS to find areas in the river that are a little bit deeper, not the deepest water, but you know, good, moderate depth, moderate current flow. Those seem to be great cold water hanging out locations for sturgeon. And then when we get to those areas, we use our sonar. In particular, a very useful tool for finding sturgeon is side imaging. So what that'll do is it shoots an image off to the side, and I'll set it for maybe 60 to 75 feet. The smaller the scale I use, the more detail I'll get out of that picture on my screen. And if they're in sand and rubble, and not hard rock, but just sand and rubble, which you find them in a lot of times, they stick out often like sore thumbs. So I've been up here before and seen mega schools of sturgeon where there's no doubt in your mind that you're seeing tons and tons of fish. And other times, you know, when there's not that many fish in the river, you'll see one here, you'll see one there, but if you can find, you know, a couple fish and it looks like there's maybe some bait fish or some irregularities in the bottom in that deeper water, you're in the right zone and you should get bit.
Closed captioning brought to you by Mercury Marine, #1 on the water.
Well, we made our way to the edge of the ice downriver, probably 6 or 7 miles. We're in the zone we want to be in. We're just going to wait as the day opens up. We've got a nice corner bend that's got a lot of potential. So we're fishing the front face of the ice right now. We're soaking some crawlers and minnows, and it's just a matter of time. Oh, wow, he landed on the ice. He's on the ice, Mike.
Look at that goofball.
Oh, man.
He's still on the ice.
Got him. Got him.
Got him. Nice one.
Got him, Ryan. Where are we at here, bud? Just gonna hop back here, Jeremy.
I don't know how big he is. Feels like a nice fish, though.
Okay, I'll get mine in here. Sweet, watch that anchor line.
Big fish, little boat, and this feels like a nice sturgeon. You can come out here with walleye gear and be snagged into them for half an hour. You can come out here with bass flipping gear, or you can go with the real heavy stuff made for tuna and get after it. Man, one-on-one, there he is.
Oh, it's a nice one.
Nice fish, beautiful fish.
I will net that one, Ryan. See what I can do here?
And as big as this fish is, this is a pretty typical animal in this system. Thanks, Jared. Lake sturgeon, the largest fish in the state of Minnesota. They're present in every watershed in the state other than the Missouri.
Whoa, whoa. Jeepers, creepers.
And they've come on really strong on the Rainy River. And if you want an opportunity to catch a massive fish, it doesn't get much better than this. This thing is a massive animal, just a beautiful fish. A 60-inch class fish.
60-inch class fish, you bet.
You know, 50, 60 pounds, whatever. It's a big,
huge.
It's a big
How about
animal.
huge, yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Beautiful
So-
fish.
Well, the Sturgeon rig is as simple as it gets. It's a slip sinker rig. So we use an octopus style hook and a 5/0, 6/0, or 7/0. I prefer the 6/0, excuse me, for my main hook. That's the one I go to. You can also use circle hooks. And then you've got a bead and then a 2-ounce no roll sinker. You can see it's flat on both sides, so that prevents the sinker from tumbling in the current. Then depending on the current speed, of course, you might have to go to a 3 or even 4 ounce, but most of the time It's a 2-ounce no roll with a 6/0 octopus style VMC hook and then a little glass bead in between. Now for the bait, really just need a gob of crawlers and some minnows on there. 2 night crawlers, you just kind of thread them on. Just gob those babies on there. And then after I've got the crawlers on, just like so, I'll grab a couple minnows as well. And you can just get fatheads or rainbows or whatever, a cheap minnow at the time. Just grab a few, even if they're dead, it doesn't really seem to matter. It's just something that's got some scent down there. Pile them on, be in good shape. That's it. And that's it. That's your sturgeon cocktail right there. Challenging enough river day. I mean, with the ice going out like this, it's just a nonstop onslaught of ice. So Jeremy's devised a pretty cool little deal here. It's PVC, fully enclosed, floatable, and we're using that to kind of redirect the ice. But even more importantly than that is the style of boat you fish. You don't see many John boats out here today. You see a lot more V-hull. And there's good reason for it. The V-hull, number one, helps split the ice because you do got to do a little ice bust. And then number two, when you're anchored up like we are, it'll actually help deflect the ice. Bozos like us do this kind of stuff a lot too. We make lots of mistakes. So it floats. And the fish aren't necessarily all coming in to spawn. At this time of year anyway, food is a dominant factor. It's certainly a pre-spawn bite. The fish aren't coming in right now to spawn in this cold water. It'll be another month or so before they spawn, but the deal is, when they're here, you want to be here because it's big numbers of big fish. It's cool. Going? Yeah, you do. Oh, nice. Yeah. I saw that bite too. That was cool. Oh. Well, that's what's fun. That's why you got this beer so you can. Right on the edge of that ice.
Yep, right on the edge of the ice.
That's just what you love to do, is just put it to them. Huh?
Yep.
Want me to grab them?
Yeah, you can grab them. My hands are getting cut up. One really unique, anatomy feature of these fish are what are called scutes, which are bony plates. And they're found on a number of different primitive fish. The sturgeon are one of them, and you can see them, one running right down the lateral line of the fish. You got one here running down the top. They're hard, and on these younger fish, they're very sharp. You can actually cut yourself. So they're a fun animal to handle. Their skin has got a really unique texture. It's coarse. Beautiful.
Yep. There we go. See how the combo we're using, the big ticket is you want a nice soft tip. And that's just going to help to, one, help for casting, just so you're not throwing the bait off. It's going to help to detect any strikes, and it's also going to help to set the hook on the fish. All you really have to do is reel down and you've got the fish. And then I've got, these are big giant offshore rods, but you can use any 300 size reel or 400 size round reel. The reason I like these so much is the quick pickup. This is like 42 inches per turn. So if there's any bow in the line or there's any slack, all I do to set the hook really is one turn of the reel handle, everything tightens up, no stretch in the line. It's a sharp hook, it's a rubbery mouth, boom, they're hooked up, you got them, and then you just play the drag from there. And the thing with these fish is the more you put on them, the harder you pull, the harder they pull back. You'll also notice the color of the line that we're using is bright yellow. It's a high-vis line. The reason for that is a lot of times you see the fish bump the line, and I like to have a good visual contact of where what's happening with the bait. And then other times if you're fishing in low light or whatever, you want to see where that fish is going to steer around ice chunks. The fish don't seem to care at all about the line. It seems like it's, for us, it's a lot easier to be able to visually pick up this bright yellow on this dark background as opposed to a green line that tends to blend in. And then I like this 50 pound. You could get away with 30, 40 pound. A lot of guys use 80 and 100 pound braid. I really don't think that's necessary. I like something that's a little bit thinner, but I can be confident that I'm not going to break off in. You're not putting a lot of shock into the line. You're not setting the hook hard. You're just slowly loading up. So 50 pound can take that big heavy load. You're not putting that much drag on, and it cuts the water really nicely so your sinker's not drifting around in the current.
We're tying our braid directly to this octopus hook with a snell knot, so it's all one unit. It's essentially a direct tie, and that allows bites to be transmitted directly to my finger in this case. That's the ultimate in sensitivity. As opposed to using a snell, for example, a fish could go the opposite direction and throw slack into it. But right now, my finger is direct. In fact, I'm feeling a, there we go. Whoa. Whoa. Okay.
Wow, is that a good tip?
Yeah,
A tip right over.
That was a tip right over.
Oh, it's a nice one too.
That's not
And the wake's
that's
coming
not real
through.
smooth. But you know what? I felt the fish and look at him. Just pulling.
That's nice as opposed to putting it in a rod holder because you do feel it.
You want to maintain contact with that lure on the bottom. Sometimes the fish can be finicky, man. They're not always gangbusters at inhaling that lure and running with it. Not a big fish, but you can see how tough that animal is.
It's a pretty nice one, it looked like.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, I'll
Beautiful
grab it
sturgeon.
right here.
Let's see you manhandle that fish.
I just gotta, oh.
Manhandle that fish, Jeremy. Get him in.
So when you're grabbing these fish, never hold them vertically. You always try to support them horizontally. If you grab them by the tail like that, get horizontal support under their belly. Never hold them by the gills vertically. That's very sensitive. They're extremely heavy. It can tear. Again, these fish are old. They can live to be over 100 years old, and it's very important to take care of the resource. Whew. As best you can. So there's a great fish, Ryan.
Beauty.
Check that out, huh?
Let me take a look at those sensory pores in the nose.
They
You can
are.
just see those barbels dragging, just sweeping the bottom.
Look at this
Boom,
airplane wing.
night crawler, boom, sucked up. That's what happened, boom. Look at that, awesome critter. So we just experienced a little bit of the pandemonium you can expect if you start getting into the lake sturgeon. And we got a crawler crib, I got worm bedding all over the place, we got dead minnows smashed into the bottom of the boat. This is a good reason why you want to keep it simple. And with this boat, this is a 16-foot classic aluminum Lund SSV. It's a great all-around fishing boat with a V-hull. It's built for abuse, it's built for what we've encountered today, which has been nonstop ice flows and just a lot of open floor space to spread out gear. We got a ton of clothing, we've been dealing with tough conditions, we got big rods, we got live bait.
Thing is, cleanup's easy too. I mean, coming here with the pressure washer, we've got these nice flat floors. You pop those things out, spray the whole thing down, and it's good as new. On the back of this boat, we've got a little 25 horse Mercury 4-stroke, and Ryan runs an 1825 Pro Guide. I spend most of the time in a 1725 Pro Guide, and we've got 75 and 90 horsepower 4-strokes on those. We've got a 150 4-stroke on our Impact, and these little 4-stroke Mercuries have been really great motors for us. They're quiet, you can start them, it seems like, in all conditions. They're really good on fuel economy, and it's just a great little motor to have on hand if you're looking for something like this. If you're going to do much trolling, they're quiet, they're smooth. It's just a really nice outfit. Here's a few things to consider when pairing a motor with a smaller boat. First, shaft length. The Lund SSV we're in comes in either a 15 or 20-inch transom height. Match the shaft length of the motor with the height of the transom. Next, for safety and performance, it's recommended to outfit your boat with a motor that's close to the max horsepower allowed. An underpowered boat is not as fuel efficient or safe in rough conditions. Finally, choose a propeller that best fits your needs. We like a 4-bladed prop for river fishing. Here's why. The 4 blades provide faster hole shot whether by yourself or with a heavy load. A fast hole shot's important for getting on plane quickly when running shallow stretches of water. 4 blades also have tremendous hold in corners. In windy rivers, having a boat that corners is a must. Lastly, 4 blades are ideal for slow trolling or slip drifting. They have better grip and allow for more precise boat control. Our choice for this boat and motor is Mercury Spitfire. Just because it's a small boat doesn't mean you can't trick it out to be an awesome fishing machine.
Tighten your drag or no? Ooh, look at that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's a sturge.
There we go. That's what you like right
Oh,
there.
it's a good one.
Lay into them, and it's like a concrete block down there.
Yep.
Look at them. Ooh,
Wow.
this
That's
is a
good
better one, boys.
Trying to keep, yep, you get to the back if
Going
you
wild.
need to. Trying to keep the double possibility in the picture.
Yeah, doubles are a pretty regular occurrence. So if the guy can keep another line in, why not? Look at this.
Header, huh?
We might want to net this guy. Hey, drag is important. Look at that. I mean, I'm pretty much maxed out on the load of this rod right now. This is what I can do with the system. Why? Another good reason for braid. How about that stuff right there? Your line just rubbing up, caught in there.
Yep.
You do want tough gear. Oh. We're getting close to seeing this guy. Oh yeah, it's a beautiful fish. Gentlemen, you bet it is.
Nice.
Look at that puppy. Got him a little wrapped.
Oh yeah. Nice one there.
And she's in.
Perfect. Wow, that's a nice
Yeah.
one.
We got her tail. We got her head. All right.
There we go. Whoa. Wow.
Look at that.
Huh?
So why do we chase these puppies? Do I need to say anything?
Look at that.
Look at the size of this fish, man.
Wow.
Beautiful, giant fish, little boat, river in the spring, our first open water experience of the year.
Yeah, that's a good way to start things off. Mega fish like that. Wow.
This is an old, beautiful fish. And to keep this fishery strong and alive and growing, it's all about safe handling, quick couple pictures, and a nice release.
That is
Incredible.
Nice
Ah.
work. That's awesome.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like more information, check out lundboats.com or these other online outlets.